Hi, my name is Heidi Gomez, and this is our presentation on air pollution. Where it all began. Industrial revolution in the 18th century is rumored to be the start of air pollution. This is due to all the technology advances and factories growing at the time. Because so many people depended on factories and technology advances like steamboats, so much coal was being burned. Because in order for any of these things to function, they use coal. That was the main source at the time period that affected air pollution. But because nobody really believed in it or believed it would affect the air quality, they didn't slow down production. It wasn't until King Edward I threatened the Londoners to slow down the production or stop. But because there was no actual threat or consequence put in place, the Londoners continued to do so and produce more and more smoke in the air, which was affecting the air quality. It wasn't until the Great Smog of 1952 where they actually started to pay attention to the air quality. As you can see here in the picture, this lady's wearing like a scarf or a banana to cover her nose and mouth because it was the first time in history where people had seen acid rain, and 4,000 people in London were killed by the acid rain. So in order to protect themselves, people would wear scarves, anything to cover their nose and mouth. But the biggest leading cause in the early 20th century of air pollution was Henry Ford motor vehicles. Because it was the first engine, it produced a lot of smoke, and the cars would throw off a lot of smoke that would damage the air quality in the area. And because so many people wanted this, because it was the first car invented, a lot of people bought it, and which damaged the air quality in the area.
Hello, everybody. My name is Juan Lopez, and I will be talking about the history of air pollution in California. People started to recognize air pollution as a problem in California in 1943. People started to recognize irritations in the eyes, irritations in the lungs, causing nausea, and eventually started to cause death in California. Around this time, Ford Motor Company started to develop cars for the general public. Little did they know this was causing a lot of toxic fumes into the air. The engines would like guzzle, guzzle, guzzle to the point that it was not good for us, but we didn't know. Eventually, this was then led for a very long time until 1967, the Manafort-Carroll Air Resources Act eventually became to develop the California Air Resources Board (CARB). This was helped and established by our governor at the time, Ronald Reagan. It was a facility to design to do research on air pollution. By in that same year, the Federal Air Quality Act was developed to help strict and enforce certain air quality laws, such as admissions, state, like for example, smog checks in California. Eventually, this was then pushed to the Clean Air Act of 1970. This was a nationwide act. This was also the first environmental law in the United States. California was the first state to have these regulations. Then now is brought to the government, and then they started to apply to every other state, because this air pollution is not just a California problem; it's a problem in the whole United States. So I am glad to be part of a state that cares about the environment and provides a better future for not ourselves, but for many other generations to come. I am done. I am done for this part of my part of the presentation. We're going to talk about to our next point.
Hello everyone, my name is Samantha and today I'm going to be talking about how COVID affected the air pollution here in California. First things first, I just want to identify the two stages of COVID or quarantine that I will be referring to. The first phase is going to be referred to as that initial strike of COVID and that first phase of quarantine. And then the second half, I'm going to be discussing more of what we see today, which is like a reopened economy So yeah, let's just get into it. The first phase I wanted to talk about was that first striking of COVID here in California when we were all under quarantine. So air pollution, what it looked like during those times was crazy here in California, and especially here in LA. Smog was cleared up immensely in the air, and this is all due to the amount of transportation that was being decreased daily due to jobs being transferred to stay at home, and for just people not being on the road and traveling planes, that all being very, very restricted and limited due to the severity of COVID-19, just how much we didn't really know about it back then. And so this caused a huge clear up in smog for the air here in California. In that second phase, which is more of what we see today, which is like a reopened economy, we have a different situation going on. Since people have been traveling for work, have been traveling for recreational purposes, the amount of smog that we see in the air has gone back to what we regularly see, mainly around this time of year, which is not really healthy. And especially during this time of year, in California, we face huge, huge forest fires. And especially this year, we had a scarce of air quality, and it was very, very bad for us and our lungs, and it's something I've never seen in my lifetime. But due to the pandemic, this just hand in hand doesn't go well for our bodies and for our planet. So I just wanted to mention that in Zhang Zhenbao's article, Effects of Meteorological Conditions and Air Pollution on COVID-19, he states that air pollution conditions are positively correlated with new confirmed cases, and the coronavirus further spreads by 5 to 7% as the air quality increases by 10 units. So basically what this means is that with the increasing of poor air quality, we do see an increase in the spread of COVID, and it is definitely not healthy for us. And the only way that we can better the situation is by learning how to take care of ourselves and then learning how to take care of our planet. So yeah, just that's how the air quality system is going down right now during these hard times. And if there's anything that we can do is trying to be more cautious of what we put out there in the air. Thank you.
Even though COVID-19 has indeed lowered the air pollution in the area, it is still a problem both past and present. For example, of a current event, that would be the California fires that have been going on. The fires and the smoke have caused air pollution to go up to an unhealthy level. And unhealthy air can be dangerous to us people. So, in order to prepare for that, we must know what the current air pollution in our area is. And these links will help us out. The first one is a map showing the current air pollutions in California. Or if you want, you can expand it to show air pollution in areas other than California as well. The second one will help you learn how to read these air pollution maps. Air pollution comes in many stages. For one, unhealthy, very unhealthy, and deadly. Preparation is key to leading a healthy life, especially for those that are sensitive to this. But being prepared will help us out.
Hello, class. My name is Angel Gonzalez, and today I'm going to be covering the topic on what are we doing to lower air pollution in California. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So, throughout my presentation, I'm going to be covering two main topics on what we could do to lower, what we can do, what we can do ourselves to lower air pollution on the road, and what we can do around the house to do our part. So just a couple of things, like right off the bat, driving our cars less. That's one thing we could do right off the bat. But we all know, especially us that live here in LA, that's literally impossible. Impossible. We all gotta get from point A to point B. We all gotta go to work. We all gotta do things. We all gotta take our kids from to school, to soccer practice, things like that. We always gotta go somewhere. We always gotta do something. There's never a day we could just chill in LA. LA is quick. Everybody's boom, 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 quick, 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 quick. You gotta go here, you gotta go there. That's how it is here. But it is what it is. But just a little fun fact. So, motor vehicles and other mobile sources like construction equipment contribute over 3/4 of air pollution. 3/4. That's crazy. We all know like those construction vehicles. They're all diesel fueled. So but construction can't be done if we don't have those type of equipment. So it's kind of tough, but we could reduce it. We could use less construction vehicles. It would help. It would help. Around the house. Around the house, there's a couple of things we could do. Is just avoid spray products. Many arousal products contribute to smog. Paint solvents. Look for water-based options. Keep lids closed and use brushes or rollers rather than sprays when possible. And as we all know, a couple of months ago, crazy times this year, 2020, crazy times, right? We were in a pandemic. LA was a ghost town. Nobody was on the streets. Nobody was driving our cars, but everybody was bummed out. But the city had a chance to actually breathe for once. Actually had a chance to take a breath of fresh air and just rejuvenate itself, because there was no cars on the road, and that helped the air quality so much. And just a couple more facts on how to lower air pollution. As we see here is a couple. Conserve energy at home. Look for the Energy Star labels when buying home or office equipment. Carpool. Use public transportation. Bike. Walk whenever possible. As a city, individual cities themselves can make transportation, or can make public transportation more accessible. That way, people are able to use public transportation and not have to, use their cars or, things of that. Another thing we could do, we could walk. Some people don't like walking, but we could walk. We use our bikes. Things like that. Just anything just to minimize the time we spend driving on the road. That's what we could do. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
What is causing the extreme rise of air pollution in California? Particulate matter, ozone, carbon monoxide are the three main factors causing air pollution in California. Particulate matter, especially because the diesel in cars and trucks, when burned, that creates a lot of smoke, and that affects the air pollution, especially fireplaces, wood stoves, wind-blown dust from roadways, agriculture, and construction really affect the air quality in California specifically. The ozone, because of the air quality, because of the air pollution, it created a hole in the ozone layer, and that damages us as living creatures, because that means the sun's rays hit more direct, and because of all the heat and climate change caused, natural fires occur more often in California. That also affects, because of all the smoke that is produced by these fires in California, affect the air quality in California, like we've recently had. And carbon monoxide is the third factor that increases air pollution in California specifically. Any source that burns fuel, such as cars, trucks, construction and farming equipment, and residential heaters and stoves, throw off carbon monoxide, and carbon monoxide itself is already poisoning. So in our air, it affects the air pollution heavily.
Hello everyone, it's Samantha again. That was Heidi with our last slide. I just wanted to thank you on behalf of group number 3 for participating, and we hope that you learned a little bit more about air pollution here in California today. Thank you guys so much for watching.